Blah 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 blah. Bah. Wah wah wah. Pins and needles. Wah 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 wah. Bah. Wah wah wah.
Welcome back. Happy New Year. And feels like it's been a while, but I'm back again. Been listening to a lot of dubstep lately, a lot of rhythm, melodic rhythm, dubstep. So I've been making a lot. So that's what we're doing today. Bit of dubstep for you. Alright, so here's my how to dubstep project. Went for 150 beats per minute on the tempo. It's pretty standard for this genre of music. I think it's usually around 140, 150, and then I just sort of made a super simple intro. Just so what we got here is an ARP, sort of ARP pattern. Just sort of creating a bit of atmosphere. Pretty sure, I bet this is Crush Pluck. Yep, it's Crush Pluck. I use this all the time. It's a stock preset, and I just put a bit of lo-fi effector on that to make it a bit disgusting. And then we got a bass that is just, this is just a saw with a filter. It's pretty, the saw's pretty open. I mean, the filter's pretty open. That's why it sounds quite dirty. And then I also put these little pitch bends in it because I'm just playing the G sharp note, which is what my drop basses will play on. So we're just going through the whole song on the G sharp. For this build up, I just put these little pitch bends in it, so that just adds a little bit of difference than just G sharp the whole song. And I just started the song with a generic intro sweep just to get it moving. So yeah, it's just a real weak intro build up. I just wanted to focus a lot on the drop and the basses and the drums and everything else that's making it happen. So this build up, we got some claps, kicks and snares, impacts and rises, the same impact from the start. Then I have a part of my drop bass filtering in to sort of tease the drop, and this little 3x oscillator channel volume automation, that's just, I just turned the sub off. I full on just turned the sub off because I don't want the heavy sub in on the build up, because that sort of ruins the drop. Like the drop is the bass drop. So I just automated that out to stop that, the sub frequencies coming through, and then I'm just having this drop bass filtering in basically the whole way in for that build up. That just looks like this. So I've got a high pass and a low pass, and they are both just opening up as it comes up to the drop. Another thing I added just to change it up from the intro, I just added these Star Wars effects from Revenge of the Sith. Haven't seen Star Wars? Sort your life out, mate. But yeah, it just adds a bit of variation. It actually works really good for the...
It's over, Anakin!
for the build up.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
You underestimate my power!
Don't try it!
This part in Revenge of the Sith is like building up to a big fight, so it fits so well.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
You underestimate my power!
Don't try it!
As a little final fill for the build up, before we hit the drop, I have this little, I don't even know what you call this.
That's a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage.
Ugly ass lot of damage. And the lot of damage is a sample from God knows where. Some meme probably. And I just chucked a manipulator on that with some preset.
That's a lot of damage.
But I'm automating the pitch down, so it sort of starts high and it's getting real low.
That's a lot of damage.
Just a bit of OTT on that for some compression. I use a lot of these little glitch sounds that Oversample's put together. I think this one I just reversed that to sort of make a sweeping up, and so this goes,
That's a lot of damage.
and it sweeps up into the kick, and then we're ready to rumble. We're ready to drop that bass. I'm going to start off with a bit of bass sound design. So I'll just open new project, open up this bad boy. We'll go the same key. I'll sort of show you how I'd go about designing a bass. We'll just start off by throwing something in. Alright, so that sounds pretty filthy. So I just drop it down 2 octaves. Oh yeah. Ooh. If I'm making a rhythm bass, which my track is basically a rhythm track, I would sort of make a volume LFO, sort of like this. Rhythm sort of has that pulsing, like wump 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 bass. Obviously you can do whatever you like, but this is sort of where I'd go. And I just chuck it on the level. And then I'd sort of play around a bit with the wave. So I found a good spot on the wave, chuck that on. That sounds sick. Next up, I would either open up oscillator B, turn that level down, and maybe FM it. I don't like that, so I don't want to use oscillator B, so we'll try something else. Honestly, there's a bit of organized chaos to this. It's just sort of, so there you go. I just went into the settings, ASYM, and I'll just turn it on, find something cool, and just on to the next part. Next, I'd usually chuck a filter or something on. There we go. So that filter, that high pass filter with a bit of resonance, just using the same LFO as we've been using the whole time, adding a bit of wump to it. Basically where I'd go with the oscillators, I wouldn't add a sub. You definitely can add a sub like that, but I like to do my sub in a separate channel with a separate oscillator. I like 3x oscillator just because it's easy, and yeah, I would just layer that onto the basses, so I have a singular sub and I can have a whole lot of different basses going at once or going at different times, and just keep that sub oscillator the same and consistent. So now we'd go in here, I'd probably add a bit of distortion to make that fat. That sounds alright. And when I'm going through my effects, I will just chuck something on. I have no idea what we just made, but it actually sounds better as a growl. Wee. And that's just what happened, boys. You start off trying to make a rhythm bass, and you end up with a growl. But anyway, that's sort of how I'd go about sound designing. You never know what you're going to come up with. I literally just did a whole heap of crap to try and make a rhythm bass, and I've sort of just made a growl. What the heck? And just like that, I changed it again, and I've got something different, and I'm going to save that one. Okay, so we're back into the How to Dubstep project. So I started off with a drum beat. I've gone for a really rhythm sort of style. So we got kicks on each. And I also made this little sweep up sort of kick pattern, just automating the volume so they're not super hard kicks. And then we just got a heavy snare. And then after that we just add some rides and an off hat. Then I also added another hi-hat loop. I've just put everything into one pattern, but we sort of continue the same pattern the same way. We kick and we have a bass, and then our drums hit. We go bass, 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 and then we can, if you can see here, we got a fill. So we go bass, 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 fill, and after that fill, we go a different bass, 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 and then we have another fill, a different fill, and then we go on to our third bass, 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 then we hit another fill, and then we have our final bass, and then I end the track with another fill. Let's look at our basses. So as I said in the sound design, I've got my sub just underneath, so you'll hear that. And that's what this little automation clip is here. That's just the volume of the sub, just making it follow the same pattern as what the basses are doing. So you can see there's sort of long ones here, which are 1/4 and then 1/8, maybe even shorter, I don't know, 16ths or so. So if we look at our first bass, just a wave, and we FM on this one. You can see where all my LFOs are going, pretty standard. What the hell? What is Siri doing, man? Then we just go on. This automation clip here is just changing the rate to make a bit of wop 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 wop. For the second bass, this is another something. So this is going at a 1/8 triplet. You'll hear that fill coming in there. That's sort of bridging the gap between the first bass. When I hit the fills, I stop the hi-hat loop. So what I've got here is oversampled glitch and a boom headshot with a lot of down format and a lot of distortion. Short little sweep up, and we're into the next bass. Now this is a bit of a different one. We still got our volume LFO. Our main LFO is just something a bit spastic, to be honest. So it's going the whole way through up until a mid drop fill. I think I used a Wubbox preset on this one, just because I needed a growl sound. And I'm automating the pitch on that one to make that dude growl down. I've also got another glitching sort of riser, and we go into number 3 bass. This is my favorite bass that I made, because I don't know what I did, but I called it Donald Duck, because if you listen, if you're wearing headphones, it really works. Now that I think about it, it sort of sounds like a bee, but at the time I was just like, what is Donald Duck doing in my right ear, freaking quacking at me, man? I got the LFO, it's doing random stuff again. Then we have our final fill before our last bass, and bring it back to Star Wars there. Kylo Ren calling Finn a traitor, and another Nebula glitch, and then we hit our last bass. And I called this one Decepticon because this dude is angry. Automating all the sort of usual things. We got a heck ton of effects on here. And then we end with the same growl. Instead of pitch bending down, we're pitch bending up. Got another Nebula glitch in here. And we have a fairly filthy dubstep drop. So yeah.